Hello and welcome to Beautiful Iron Garage. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a curved flange using a simple plywood hammer form. What we have here is the shell of a mid-20s Chevy Roadster cowl. And I bought this thing from one of my buddies for cheap just because I thought it was cool. It had some old blue paint still on it, and I was going to kind of use it as a start for a little rat rod body or a little hot rod body, but when I got it home, it wasn't really the right shape that I was looking for, and this whole back piece had been cut off already and there wasn't a lot left of the original piece. So it ended up sitting, and it was in the corner for about a year, and I decided to just do something with it. So I'm going to make a chair out of it. I built these inserts out of oak that I bought locally from a guy, and I want to take and make a piece of sheet metal that caps this whole thing off, but I don't want it to just be flat. I want it to curve around the edges on the outside and on the inside. And with this curve in the back, it would be really difficult to make this piece with just a normal brake or a tipping die, because a brake really only folds things that are straight. It'll only make a straight line. I need to go around this curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a hammer form using plywood. And basically I need to make this exact shape out of two pieces of plywood. I'm going to clamp a piece of sheet metal in between the two of them with about 3/4 of an inch hanging off every side, and I'm going to hammer it down. First thing I want to do is make a poster board template of the piece that I want. Now a really easy way to do this is to just take a piece of poster board, and I'm going to make this in a couple pieces. Like I'll make this section, and then this section, that section, and tape them together. But a really easy way to do it is lay it down on the piece that you want, and use the side of a marker where the writing is, and press that against your hard line on that edge. And it's a really easy way to get a nice crisp line, and you don't have to kind of hold it, take the marker, and then mark it from the bottom. It's getting like a negative from the top. Save you some time, and it gives you a nice sharp line instead of a fat marker line. So I'll cut that out, and I'll fit it up against there, and I'll make my line for the inside here. Poster board pattern all finished up. Now we just need to take this off, lay it flat on the plywood, and cut out two pieces like this. So we want to transfer it twice and cut them both out. Got our pattern transferred over to the wood. We're going to cut this out with the jigsaw, and a little tip, anywhere where you have an inside corner like here or here, you want to drill a hole slightly bigger than the blade of the jigsaw so that when you come to it, you can stop and start again going this way instead of making a huge arc and having something you have to cut out later. Ready? Mm-hmm. It's not plugged in. Okay. So that's one. Now I got to do one more. And then there were two. What I'm going to do now is clamp these together as close as I can. They're pretty close to being the same. And I'm going to clamp them, and then I'm going to sand the edges down with a nice 60 grit piece of paper on the palm sander, just to make sure everything is as close to being exactly the same as I can. And then we'll go on from there. So I'm going to get this clamped, get it sanded, and then we'll get our piece of sheet metal cut out. Okay, so this is 22 gauge cold rolled steel. Its stuff is pretty thin, it's easy to cut, it's easy to work with, it's going to be perfect for what we need it to be, which is basically just a cover for the void in that seat. And we're going to cut our template out. And the little tip is I go to the hardware store and get these little magnets. They're about the size of a penny, and you can put your piece of poster board on. Just stick the magnets down. You don't have to worry about it moving when you're marking it up. So I'm going to mark this up with a marker. I'm going to use a shear. I'm going to have to use a cutoff wheel for in here, and maybe a niddler for this line right here. But we'll get it cut out. We want to leave 3/4 of an inch around every edge, because that extra is what's going to become our flange. That's what we're going to be hammering down around that bottom piece of wood. So make sure you give yourself extra material, however much you want, whatever you want your flange to be. That's how much extra you're going to have to put all the way around your piece. So we're going to do that, and we're going to get it cut out, and we're going to start moving it. Time to start cutting. I got my electric shear here, and I'm going to cut across both of these, here and here. Then I'm going to push this flap down, cut around my whole curved edge, and then I'm going to cut the insides here with a 4.5 inch grinder with a big cutoff wheel on it. So here we go. one step closer to hammering here. I just got to slip our piece of steel in between the two pieces of plywood we had cut out earlier. Want to get this top piece of wood lined up with our marker line from before. And then I'm going to take my ruler and measure to make sure that there's 3/4 of an inch overhang to the bottom, and that's how we're going to line the bottom up. I'm just going to make sure it's 3/4 of an inch all the way around, and then we'll know it's exactly the same as the top. We'll clamp these two pieces together, sandwiching the steel in between. We'll clamp those to our 2x4s, and then the 2x4s I'll clamp to my sawhorses, and then we'll be ready to start hammering this outside edge.
I'm going to say hashtag clamped.
Hashtag clamped. Oh, didn't see you there. We got everything. We got everything clamped down nice and tight, and now I'm just going to take a standard run-of-the-mill body hammer and just lightly tap it all the way around. You don't want to go all the way in one whack. You don't want to really stretch the hell out of it. So I'm just going to lightly tap all the way around, come back the other way, and it may take, 2 or 3 times around, but you want to do it smoothly and gradually so that it all flows together really nice. So here we go. Moving right along on this thing, I got the general shape kind of hammered down, and you can see on the curve here, and as it gets tighter around this bend, it kind of looks like a bottle cap. Basically what that is there's too much material in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off of the fixture here. I'm going to hammer this stuff smooth with a hammer and dolly, and then I'm going to take it over to my shrinker, and I'll show you what the shrinker machine does. So this is a shrinker and a stretcher, and for what we're working on right now, we need the shrinker. What it is basically it's got 2 sets of jaws in there that come together on the top and the bottom, and they have like grooves in them so they grip whatever they grab onto. And then when you put this in here and you push down, it takes both sets of jaws and brings them together. So basically what it's doing is grabbing a hold of your piece of sheet metal and squeezing them together. It's bringing that metal back together, it's shrinking it back together. So for around our edge here, where we have all that extra material, we're going to stick it right in there and grab a hold of it, and it's going to grab and it's going to squeeze this material together. Got the outside edge straightened out for the most part in the shrinker, and now we have it back clamped in between both of our pieces of wood, and I'm just going to start hammering this edge, and both of these front pieces. And these should be a lot easier because they're basically just making 90 degrees down. Doesn't have to go around this curve, so there shouldn't be a big issue. I might have to make a slice in these corners. I don't know if it'll quite stretch as much as I need it there. It might break right there, but that's something that we could easily fix. I'm actually just kind of curious to see if it will move that far or not. So just gonna, same thing, gonna start with this body hammer, and I was also using this hammer. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but it's for hemming a new door skin on. I'm not exactly sure the name of it, but I would call it door skin hammer. So I'm using that and just a regular body hammer. Okay, we got our basic shape hammered out. I just want to take all the clamps off now, and I did end up having to cut these inside corners because they were going to crack. They wouldn't stretch that far, so I'm going to have to make a little piece for each side of those. And I just want to hammer and dolly kind of the little deformities out. I might have to go through the shrinker stretcher a little bit more, but there's our basic shape. It's fitting that bottom piece of wood really tight, so coming out really good. That's it right there. It's a little lumpy down here. Like I said, I'm going to take the hammer and dolly out and keep going a little bit just to smooth everything out. And then weld those pieces up, and we're going to test fit it on our piece. It's the next day, and we're here in the shop. Last night got cut a little bit short when I banged my knee into an open drawer and then kicked my stool across the room for no reason. So I came back out here this morning. I got my flanges hammered out pretty smooth, and the only thing I have left to do is to make pieces that fill in these voids in the corners and weld up these in the front. And then this top piece will be done. After that, I still have to make the front and make legs for this thing, but for now, this is all we're going to do. So I'm going to get to that, and then we'll go from there. There we have it, the top to our chair. Everything's formed out and smoothed nice. I still need to make the front and some legs in this thing. I'll do it this week if I get a chance. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to paint this piece of sheet metal to match the ratty blue paint of the cowl. And if you like this video and our other sheet metal shaping videos, like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.